Welcome to another conversation off the clock. Hi, I'm Carmina Constantino Torres, and this is Casey After Hours.
That is like to me a no-no. I went where I knew I could excel. I think every client will have a challenge. If there's anything that cancer taught me, it's really just to breathe.
Hindi ka nadala ng pera.
I'm
Bakit?
perfect.
Hers may not be a household name, but make no mistake about it, mention any brand in your home and chances are she was the force behind why you even know about it. Leah Caringal, her name, almost synonymous with public relations and communications, built her career by visualizing and creating concepts, one story at a time. Pero ang lahat ng ito, muntik nang matigil, nang malamang dinapuan siya ng kanser. Paano na ang karera? Paano na ang mga pangarap na hindi pa nakakamtan? Well, Leah now joins us to tell us about the toughest campaign she's ever had to see through. Her fight to live. Lay.
I know, everyone calls me. No, my friends call me Lele.
Nice to have you on the podcast.
Thanks,
I have
Casey.
been waiting for this interview to
sorry.
happen. No, but I've been waiting for it for all the right reasons because I just know that there is a story here that's just waiting to unfold and a lot of people are going to learn from it.
I hope so.
But first, you and the PR and communications industry, I said this in my intro, almost synonymous, right? And you have been at it for more than 3 decades.
Yep.
And you're still excited about it.
I think like everyone who works for over 2 decades or 25 years, in my case, almost 3 decades, there are good days and then bad days. And there are days where you're thinking, okay, how am I gonna get out of bed, right? And there are days that you can't wait to get out. And you're awake at 4 because you're excited about something.
I remember during our time when we were all just starting out, it was either you take up advertising or you go into advertising after college, or you go to broadcasting.
Broadcast.
But you're kind of an outlier there because you went straight to PR. What's the story behind that?
I think it's all by accident. When I started choosing the courses, it wasn't like I knew what I wanted. It was really process of elimination. I looked at the piece of paper that said, what are the courses? And then it said how many units of math it had. And the least math units was at the time PR and communications at the Ateneo. So I said, oh, perfect. And that was that.
There's a match.
Exactly.
Magic.
Exactly. So the math was like math 11, which
Yeah.
was algebra, which in high school was difficult enough. In college was still difficult. But I managed because all the other courses were like multiple math subjects. And I knew I couldn't excel in something like that. So I said, okay, I'll do PR, which was a bit of everything.
Yeah.
But obviously mostly writing stories, which is really what PR is all about, right? It's all about telling stories, however way you can.
There are a lot of misconceptions and misplaced assumptions. What is the difference between PR and propaganda vis-a-vis advertising?
So I stay on my lane, right? So I don't know much about advertising or propaganda. All I know is all these 3: propaganda, influence marketing, PR, advertising, all that is all about telling stories. I just have a particular way of telling a story.
How do you know when you see a brand or a product that there's an interesting story and I want to tell this story? There's a story behind this. And let me be the one to tell it.
I always I'm very Asian that way. I'm very, very Filipino that way, where I like the founder's story. Meaning there's always like a small start, how a business started, and how that founder, the CEO, whoever it is, 20 years back, 30 years back started, right? That's always a very compelling story because I think anyone and everyone, whether you're educated, whether whether regardless of where you're from, you associate with stories,
Yeah.
with human interest stories, with especially stories where you've overcome so many challenges and yet you're still alive and standing. I think that is a compelling storyline for me.
Andun ka na ba sa point na pwede mo nang pagpilian kung ano yung gusto mong ikwento na storya? Because before, you'd be, maybe things will just fall on your lap and you'd be assigned a story. But now, have you reached that point na, okay, ayoko yan.
Oh, yeah.
Ito, gusto ko.
Definitely. I think it's, again, process of elimination. So I don't work with companies or clients around smoking, right? That is, like, to me, a no-no. All the others, I'm more attracted not to the stories that inspire. I always talk to the CEO first before, or the head of the company, before I take on the client. Just so to see whether our values match, if there's really a story.
And it's important.
Yeah, to me it's very important, especially if I'm going to be spending hours and hours with that client or with that corporation, right? Another part of my company, though, does influencer marketing, which is so prevalent these days, right? So that kind of business I love, but I don't know much about it. So I have the young ones, the members of my team who are young or who are really into it, drive that business.
The success that you have now, Leah, would you say that it all came, from the very beginning when you were looking at, the course outline and which matched your likes and wants more than the others? Because now we're talking at a time when the young ones are going to take their college exam tests. And it's either they want to make sure that the parents are happy, or they think that this is expected of them. But you went where you were most you. Do you think that's crucial as they choose the right path for them, whatever it is, whether it's PR or medicine or whatever it is?
I guess at the time it was pretty simple for me. I went where I knew I could excel. I couldn't knew then, as I know now, that I won't excel in math. I won't excel in sciences. But maybe I will excel in storytelling or being creative.
Your reputation precedes you. I'm talking to a strong woman here, inside and out. When did you realize that I now have faith in myself and I'm going to run with this and I have the power? Did that come earlier on in life or later on in your career?
No, not at all. I think there's still days where I'm like, you think of yourself as, okay, I've accomplished this, I've done X, Y, Z, I've built this. But at the same time, I think you owe it to yourself when you also say to yourself, yeah, but you screwed up big time with X, Y, Z and didn't do what you said with, A, B, C, right? So am I strong that way? I don't know. I think if there's any strength to that, it's the ability to know when you've done well and you know when you've screwed up. So the self-awareness, I suppose.
Let's talk about the challenges that you've encountered, because you can only tell a story one time and then after that, it's going to be repetitive. So what are the challenges there in making sure that, okay, this is the first time I'm going to tell this kind of story and it's not going to be the same as the other stories that I'm about to tell? Hirap yun, ah.
Yeah, for sure. And normally when we come up with campaigns, PR campaigns and communications campaigns, it really takes the team, and it's not just me.
Yeah.
It takes the team about 2 weeks because we really dig through data, dig through analysis, dig through what's going out there in the bigger market, dig through competition and whatnot, and come up with what, again, like me, what would be the strength of this company, what would be the strength of this person, how can we highlight that?
Can you recall of an account that you've had that was the most difficult to date? And why was it difficult?
I think every client will have a challenge or challenges. It's really how to address the challenge and turn it around. Whether it's the team or the dynamics of my team and their team, or the product itself or the people themselves.
Yeah.
So how do we work it? How do we work it out? I think like any success story in business, diba? You always have KPIs. And I always ask my clients when I interview them or when I, prod and research, I always ask them, okay, so what do you think is a day of happiness for you? What is a phase of happiness for you? Because we go towards that.
Okay, you're in. You're in.
Yeah.
Got the account. You're running with it. And then biglang I don't think this is gonna work. Or all of a sudden, throws a monkey wrench, right? Now, I think we should go this direction. What do you do then?
I guess if we see that there is reason to it, reason behind the change, because there's always change, right?
Yeah.
I think then we'll go with it, right? But if we say, okay, I don't think it's gonna go right, or you have different value systems working, then every client has the right to say we're out. The same way that I, as an agency, would also have the right to say, okay, we're out.
Oh, obviously, you won't stay in this industry for this long without being this successful. You're so successful, Leigh, and because of that success, has a politician ever approached you to
Yes, and we always from the very
to
beginning
offer that to ask your
I
help?
said no.
Why not?
First, I'm not interested in politics. Second, it's again the path to the least resistance. That's difficult. In a country like the Philippines, it's so very difficult.
Kasi may mga ganyan ha.
They thrive in that, diba?
They thrive in that, and I've come across college students who are taking up PR just because they eventually want to land as a PR consultant for a politician because it pays big
Yeah.
bucks. Pero hindi ka nasilaw doon. Hindi ka nadala ng pera. Bakit?
I'm pretty simple in terms of my needs. I suppose because I'm not ambitious. I'm not, ambitious enough to be able to live well, but not ambitious where I just say yes to everything. I think, again, there's got to be a level of comfort. And politics and myself, personally, we can't be in the same room. So how can I say yes to politicians, personalities who I don't believe in, or worse yet, I don't know anything about?
What do you still get out of it?
I came to the office yesterday and it was noisy because you have more than 3 people in one room. I mean, just the 2 of us, and you can create a lot of noise. So imagine 45, 50, 60 people at the same time, and they're all young. I mean, by young I mean they could be my children. If I had children, they're 22, 23 years old.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I always take time to see them and talk to them one by one, because otherwise they don't know me and I don't know them. That can't be a company. That can't be a company that has a culture of communicating if you don't even know your own people.
Right.
But yesterday I walked in, a lady in front of me who was apparently a new receptionist is like completely just looking at me thinking, who is she? In the same way that I was looking at her thinking, who is she, right? But it was exciting because it excites me that there are a lot of new people.
And new people equals new ideas.
New ideas, as well as just even voices. Like when I introduce myself, and then all those who are new will have to introduce themselves and say one interesting thing about themselves. It's even just the tone, the voice. I can close my eyes and then realize, oh my God, it's another person.
So when you see all these young people, and you were one of them when you started.
I was, yes.
What do you see in them that that makes you think, okay, this industry and this company that I built, I mean, this is going to be, they're in good, it's in good hands.
For
What-
sure, I think energy and ideas, and they're just quick and agile, right?
Grabe, no?
Nakakatakot sila. I mean, okay, and I'm like, thank God for these people. Otherwise, I don't know what's happening, right?
I'm like, what are they on? Or what are their
think
parents been
just-
feeding them? Iba.
The energy of youth.
You think?
Yeah.
Just youth? And then
Yeah.
coupled with everything that's happening around us?
Yeah, I think it's really youth. That's one. Two, I think most of my people are extroverts, so being with each other energizes them. Whereas for me, and maybe for you, as we were talking about it, while it excited me the first few minutes, in fact the first hour, because I had to talk, right, and introduce myself and all that. After that, I had to actually go to my room, close the door, and breathe,
Yes.
because
Too much.
I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
So while it energized me for an hour to be with people, after a while I needed to. kinda
Does
go
that
away.
make your job even more interesting, or how does that factor in? I mean, the very nature of your job, public relations, communications, and yet you're an introvert. How does that add up
Learn to be an extrovert. So there's
when it matters?
yeah, and there is a terminology. It's all the psychologists will tell you, oh, you're learned to be a extrovert, and that's what it is, right? The same way that some people are real extroverts, but then because of what they do or the circumstances around where they are, they turn quiet. So I think that's another thing. There's not just one facet of my life or anyone's life, I suppose, where you always have space. That's what I want, to always have space to learn something new, know something new, space to be surprised.
Well, there came a point that there was that space and there came that surprise, but it wasn't the surprise that you were expecting when the diagnosis came that you actually had breast cancer. Talk to us about the space and the void that created at the time that you were diagnosed. Everything stopped?
I was shocked. So yes, there's space for learning and there's space for holy shit.
Yeah.
Right?
What was this?
Yeah,
For
so that-
someone who was like deliberate and in control of your life all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I thought back then I was rather fit. I used to smoke though, but when I was diagnosed, I haven't had a cigarette in maybe 7-8 years. The world stopped. At least for me, it had to stop because I needed to figure out my next steps. From insurance to letting my family know to scheduling the operation to who's going to take care of me before and after at the hospital to who's going to pay for my care, all that. Because again, as you know, I'm single, right? So I have to kind of plan all these out before I even walked in the hospital.
Did you have an inkling that something was wrong?
No, not at all. I was super strong. I was super active. I would, work 15, 16 hours a day because I had the energy and there was so much happening.
So you found out through a routine checkup?
Yes, only because every year, and this is thanks to my business partners before then, Tony, who are my mentors, Tony and Annie. Every year, we would have a checkup together, right? It used to be, we were all separate, and I said it's really boring doing this thing alone. They found something. They said, I think you have to come back. Okay, I'll be there. So I did. I got there, and we did a biopsy. And I don't know if you ever had a biopsy, but it's not a very pleasant procedure, and painful, in fact. And then 2 weeks later, the email came to say you have cancer. Right breast. It's early stage.
As you know, in the industry that you belong to, owning the story sort of sets you up for success already because you got to own the story and then you're going to run away with it no matter the direction that you want to take. When was it during your cancer journey that happened, that you said, I'm going to own this story and I'm going to write it the way I want to write it?
To be honest, I didn't want people to know. Right? But I think people noticed because I really lost a lot of weight.
Why was that? Why didn't you want people to know?
I didn't want the attention. Right? You know, the whole, oh my God, you have cancer. How are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I have cancer. I'm dealing with it. Done. Right?
Was that a relief that you had to say your story on your own terms, the way you want it told?
Yeah, there was no, I think there was no pressure naman. The same way that I didn't want to give myself a pressure to tell my story.
Yeah.
Right? The same way, you know, how people bring it upon themselves to be poster children or poster child of some advocacy or another. I never did that.
Did you, because your work is telling stories, right? During your journey, did you ever think na kung kampanya to,
No.
kung kampanya to, I would write it this way?
No. I was very deliberate as well in terms of separating my life with cancer and my life at work. In fact, most of the people didn't know. It was only the last few weeks when I said, okay, I think I need to kind of rest, and I would have my meetings at home. So I never stopped.
So you never stopped?
No, because I think I'd go nuts if
I was going to
stopped.
say that.
Yeah.
I was going to say
My
that.
days were always full, and even today.
No cancer journey is ever the same, right? But did you fall into a black hole, and where did you draw strength from, and how did you get out of it?
I think what saved me from, you know, my pity party, and I did have a pity party.
You had that, yeah.
Was one, running, and then two, I Can Serve. So I Can Serve is a foundation headed by and founded by two amazing ladies, Clara Magsanok, Alikpala, and gosh, now I'm forgetting her name. Crisan, right? Crisan Saldran. And someone had introduced me to them and said, you know, why don't you join? And it started as a purely social thing. And then I saw what they did.
Yes, they do amazing things.
Exactly, right? And back then, this is 12 years ago, you know, Instagram was not a thing yet, right? We would really go to, at the time, Muntinlupa Festival Mall pa, where we would have tests, we would have doctors, we would have sisters, meaning us.
Yes.
Breast cancer survivors who will be there to volunteer. And I said, okay, there's power in this.
Yeah.
Right? So I think those are the two things that saved me, of course, apart from family and friends, right?
But how did that change the kind of storytelling that you've been used to? And even your journey? Do you have a different perspective now in the way you tell your stories?
If there's anything that cancer taught me, it's really just to breathe. It took me years to embrace the idea of you don't have to always be empty. Like, you don't, hindi mo uubusin sarili mo just because
Kaya. Kasi,
Kaya.
or may bibigay ka pa kasi.
Yes. So I think if there's anything that I've learned through the years, that when I get home, I'm not empty.
Did you ever think, Leah, that of all the stories that you have told and about to tell, that this was going to be the story that you're going to tell about your own life journey?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I thought I was going to be married with children and, you know, the whole football mom and all that. Not this. And to be honest, Casey, it's the... I don't want this to just be my story. You know, because there's more of me apart from surviving cancer, right? It is a part of me that was very pivotal, good or bad, but it's not my only story.
Yeah. It shouldn't define you.
Exactly. So, yeah, it was a kind of speed bump. In my whole life, that's a speed bump. And then there's more to go, good or bad.
And that's the kind of energy that the sisterhood and I Can Serve Foundation also brings.
Yeah, I guess possibilities.
Diba? It's not a dead end.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, for most, it's become a starting point
Yep.
to another chapter.
Exactly.
What do you tell those who may be watching us right now, Lay, and who are right there, wanting it not to be their story, but here they are. It's part of their story now.
Right.
What do you tell them?
That it's a great life. So live it and live it well, right? And this is really just a speed bump. This is like a little thing, a little blip. It could be a big blip, but it's just in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing. You can conquer it.
And if you were to write a campaign for every single woman out there who has to face it and be victorious over cancer, how would that campaign run? How would that campaign look?
Oh wow! Wow, that's a tough one. I think it'll be you're never alone, and I guess that's with every challenge, whether it's mental or physical, cancer or any ailment. That really you are never alone, and it really is finding strength in asking for help. I think that's something that we don't do often. Women don't ask for help.
Because women are strong,
Yeah,
but sometimes we
and we're
just think about it.
independent, and we're the women of this century, and we just stand on our own feet and all that. I think we made too much of heroes out of women who are independent and whatnot. I love it. I am independent and all that, but there's also a time and place where you can ask for help.
Leah, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate you coming to the podcast. And that's it for another episode of Casey After Hours. You know the drill. Like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.